So after watching some of the film from last game, what positives did you see, and what do you think the team needs to work on heading into next game?
I think one of the positives that I would look at is that I think that was 3 difficult games in 6 days. 6 days? I think it was 6 days, right? 2 of them away. So the amount of energy we expended was tremendous, and we were able to get a decent result in the first away game. Then quick turnaround, go to another tough place, really get an amazing result there, and then even quicker turnaround to come home and play against your rival. Very difficult. And then some lessons, obviously the obvious things. Be a bit smarter. Every action can have consequences. I think we looked at video and on defense, maybe be a bit more pessimistic. Expect the worst. Be ready for the worst. A flick on will happen. Not what if it does. Oh, now we're screwed. But if it does, we are ready. Just some of those things. But other than that, honestly, I always try to look at the positives. And for us this was a really difficult week. And I know people don't really want to hear that. And you're professionals and whatnot, but to travel and the mental toll it takes. I'm proud of the guys. Worked exceptionally hard. So we're able to find the back of the net again. Hopefully that gives us a little bit of confidence going forward, and we can keep doing that in the next few games.
Is there anything specific you guys have been focusing on this week, especially now that you don't have a game this weekend?
We're missing some guys. Obviously, a lot of senior guys are missing. So you see a lot of competitive drills with young guys coming in as well, and so I think it's a chance for them to get thrown into another level, which is good for them, but then also for the guys that have remained and are here right now to really raise the bar and make those young guys who are coming from academy to make them feel like what it is, and then there's a big step up. And so that's been actually really good. I think today we had two young guys with us, goalkeepers wise, Trevor and Mo, and really good to see them come in, really good to see them have some nerves, then try to up my game personally so that they can look at me and feed off of me, and so then it's a really good combination. And then I saw them able to apply some of the things we were working on in the small-sided games, and so it's again, I think that's the beauty of being in a team, is that you have individual components that can really work together and try to up each other and help each other out and try to get better as a whole.
You're talking a couple minutes ago about the lessons learned from that Portland game, and you referenced their first goal. On that second goal, looking at back from Evander, is that just a top-shelf strike, or was there anything that you look back saying that could have been done to avoid that or not let that go in the back of the net?
I'm gonna say there's 99.9% of goals that you concede. We'll say there's something we could have done better. But that's you always have to take that with a grain of salt, because you're looking in hindsight, right? How do we turn that ball over? Can we maybe make sure that if there's one guy who has a little bit of space from 25 out, it's not their most skilled player. There's always something. But it's, like I said, it's very easy to say that in hindsight. So we're trying to be critical when we look at footage and see what we can do better. I think it was tough going down a man, and maybe there would have been a better way to handle that emotionally and not let it be such a drag, such a down. Obviously, I don't know how many minutes we survived, maybe close to 10 before that first one came.
14, yeah.
14, okay. So we really needed to survive 14 and then get into a lull for the opponent, where they're like, okay, it's still not coming. I think we were close to it, but yeah, that's football for you. I think a moment can change a game. And they score that goal, Spirit comes in, first touch, they score that goal, and the game completely flips in a matter of seconds, right? I don't think it's a collapse. It's difficult. Again, it's a third game in 6 days, down a man for 40 minutes. It's difficult. Yeah. We fought all the way to the end. I think a tie is probably a fair result.
You talked a second ago about the turning the ball over the midfield on that goal. Talking to Obed Vargas after the game, he took fault for both goals. And when we talk about maturity of young players like that, taking fault for goals for everything is a little bit of a veteran move. Looking back, A, was he at fault for any of that, and then B, also just talk about what you've seen from his maturity level playing beyond his years in the last couple of years we've seen him here.
Well, first of all, there's never one person that's at fault, or rarely. Maybe a goalkeeper, when you have a blunder. I know that feeling. But it's very important that you get to a point where, as a team, you can have an honest chat and sit down and say, hey, you could have done this better. Hey, you could have done that better. And it may sting at first, but you need to understand that it comes from a good place. It comes from a place of, hey, I understand you need to be there. If you would have been there, then we would have dodged that situation. You can give me that same feedback, and if you have that level of honesty and maturity to be able to take that criticism or that feedback, I mean, it's all done to try to better everybody, so that's a good sign from a young guy, and especially me as a veteran, where I'm an old fart now, I grew up completely different than some of these young kids, I mean, I grew up with speaking of young guys coming joining the first team, and I was 14 and I got asked to go and train with the first team in Switzerland. I didn't make eye contact, I didn't speak a word, I didn't say anything. I got my butt kicked in the shooting drill, I fetched all the balls, and then I went back to my locker. I didn't talk to anybody. So I come from a different culture. I understand that younger guys are a little bit more, it's how they're perceived, and if they're attacked, it's a little bit different. It's a bit more nuanced. It's more difficult for them these days. But for a younger guy to then take the feedback and take ownership of their choices, and I wouldn't even call them mistakes, because you make things and then sometimes it works and it doesn't. But then we analyze it and we say that could have been better. Good. Okay, I'm gonna try to implement it next. That's only gonna make him better. And that's obviously only going to make us better. And so for a young guy to have that mentality is great. I think it's good for him. It's good for his career. It's a good sign. It's
interesting with the LA Rams football team. They have a quarterback who's in his late 30s, and the rest of the team a lot of the team is very young. His wife then went on a podcast.
I heard about this.
Yeah, and she said he's having a trouble time relating to young players. I mean, for you, as you said, there as an older player, relating to the young guys on this team. Is it difficult at all? Or are you able to just kind of be in touch and relate through soccer?
I try to let my talking do on the field and be as, what's the right word, as motivating for others as possible through my actions. I'm 37 years old. I want to be the hardest working guy. And if guys are out here 20 years old and they think they can slack, and then they see a 37-year-old work their butt off, hopefully it wakes them up. It gives them a jolt. It makes them feel, man, I gotta find another gear. That's how I, in the locker room, it's pretty easy. I think personally I'm more of an introvert. I like to overanalyze things, and I live in my own space. But I think I have a feeling on how and when to say something to someone,
leading by example,
when to leave someone alone as well, a little bit, maybe a cheeky comment here and there. I've never struggled with that, so
great.
Seeing that, like you said, how Defiance and Academy players will practice with you guys, what does that mean to you? And seeing that the competition doesn't change, how beneficial is it for them to be on the practice pitch with you guys? And just in general, what does it mean to you to have them out there too?
Well, for them, I think it's everything. I mean, I think I've had this conversation with some of our goalkeepers a week ago or so. How many of the best players we played at when we were 15 made it? Almost none of them. Because when they were the best at that level, they got complacent, they forgot how to work, they got everything gifted, and they just became stagnant. So it's very, very important that we have the best be challenged, and the way you do that is by throwing them to the wolves, throw them to Tommy and have Tommy blast a ball at you, and you feel so uncomfortable, and you fail a couple times, and you get the jitters because you're out here with some of the guys. Maybe you look up to the Freddie Monteros. That's what you need, because I think that's what's going to make you be like, I still got a ways to go. And so hopefully when you go back to your comfortable place where you are the man, you will remember this, and you will try to apply this over there until hopefully you have another chance to come out here. For us old guys, I look at it as a challenge to prove that, hey, you're good, but you're not quite there yet. That's how I think everybody should look at it. For us, it's a business. I think sometimes as young guys, they don't realize that yet. For older guys, once the new young shiny guy comes along, your time might be over. So this is the time to prove that time is not there yet.
So, seeing that you guys did have 3 games this past week, and then you have, the weekend off from the game, how important is this weekend for you guys to kind of regroup?
It's always. I mean, I say this all the time. The season is long. It's grueling. There's a lot of travel. Mentally, it's difficult, and so whenever you get a break, you have to take advantage of it. Even if it's you play your first game of the season and then you have the break. You might want that break later, but you have to use it mentally. So for us now, some guys don't get a break. Some guys had to go on national team duty. I feel for players like Alex, a lot of travel, a lot of wear and tear in your body. But for the guys that were able to stay here, enjoy the practice, work hard, but also kind of get away mentally. Spend time with your family or whatever it may be, video games, art, whatever floats your boat, and then come back rejuvenated. Yeah, it's important to mentally to take advantage of the breaks.
Any new video games?
Starfield.
I just started it this morning.
Yeah, I'm already level 18.
18?
Yeah.
When did you get the game?
I had early access.
Oh, of course. I did my first 2 hours this morning.
Yeah.
And that's a stunning game.
It's awesome. Love it.
Oh.
Right. See, that's one of those universes you can just get away from soccer for a few hours.
All right.
I'm still heavy into Apex too, though.
I gotta catch up then. Any tips?
I've been hearing the tip of just do the main story.
Okay.
And that's what I've been mainly following, although I keep trying to create a settlement because that intrigues me, but apparently you should do all that when you're done with the main quest line. So,
Okay.
sorry, nerd talk. But
I just got to New Atlantis for the first time, and it's just it's fantastic. Kraken's starting in a month. You excited to get back to Climate Pledge?
I haven't been in a while, and honestly, the fact that I live on Bainbridge makes it a bit more difficult. We used to live at Upper Queen Anne, and when they announced the Kraken coming to Climate Pledge, I was telling my wife, we're going to ride the bike down the hill, I'm going to be at every game, I was so juiced. It makes it more difficult from Bainbridge, because obviously it would be a double commute on a training day,
Yeah.
Here, go back to the dogs, and then back, it's but I'm going to try to make it out some games, because it's amazing. I mean, I think they've done everything so well, and obviously they had a successful postseason, I would say, last year. Really something that everybody I think is proud of in the city. I look forward to a new season for sure.
Thanks, Steph.